With the new ban list in effect in just a few days, I figured why not get ahead of the curve and see how these decks work. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I took a look at 3 different decks that were hit on the most recent ban list to see what actually changed. All 3 of them are, well, I should say the 2 that I chose were the 2 most represented in Sulfur Yummy and Dracotail Yummy, and the 3rd one that I chose was Man, which happened to be hit the most, given the fact that the Solemns are likely a hit for that deck. And on top of that, Treasures was also hit. So I figured, why not take a look at that and see what ended up happening. Alright, here's what it looked like before the ban list for Yummy Sulfur. This is the deck list. And here is the post-ban list one. That's it. Pretty simple. We took out the 2 Yummies, or 2 Cupsies, added in a Lollipo, and I added back another Imperm. That's pretty much it. Everything else is more or less the same. This is taken not specifically from one deck list of a top player, but a general consensus from top players in the Duelist Cup. So we can see Cutia we're playing at 3 because it's a light fairy, or it's a fairy monster for us to utilize with Herald. And then on top of that, we are also utilizing WP in the extra deck and stuff like that, which seemed to be the consensus. This could have also been Time Maiden. I don't see a reason to play Time Maiden as opposed to playing more Sulfur Chords, given the fact that the Sulfur cards require Sulfur Chords. So that was my thought process behind that. Other than that, pretty much everything remains the same. So let's hop into the replays and show you what changed. Alrighty, so here we are going first, and look at that. Cups of Yummy already in our hand. Yeah, as it turns out, you can still draw this card. You could also search it, but yeah, you can still just draw the card. So here we're going to start off by searching out the Surprise, which is pretty nice. They're going to go for the Fuba Loss here. I am going to play into it a tad bit, except for the fact that I'm lying to you. I'm actually just going to immediately draw myself. This may sound like a terrible idea, but the thing is, it's Yummy. You can actually play under Droll pretty effectively. That sounds crazy, but no, actually you kind of can, right? Especially since we started out with Cupsy. So there you go. We're going to start with the Mignon. Mignon is going to grab back the monster and then go into the Lollipo here. We're going to activate the effect of the Lollipo. We're going to bring back 2 guys, and then we are going to link off in it to Elf. Elf is going to bring back our additional guy, and then we are going to activate the we're going to go into the Martial Metal Marcher, bring back the Link 2, activate the Surprise to reborn our level 1, Synchro in it to the Herald, and then link off in it to our Snatchy here. We're going to set 2 Imperms and pass the turn with our opponent's 5-card hand. Let's see what they can accomplish here. They're going to start by normal summoning the Kawaki Maru Guardian, which is pretty solid. At this point, we know that it's magnets, but notably, we can imperm it and then go for our Elf. Elf is going to bring back the guy. Then if they do anything, we get to tag out, which is pretty nice. They do elect to go to combat and walk over the Herald of Arclight, which I don't know if that's necessarily the correct option. I think you're supposed to walk with the Lollipo there. I understand technically why we don't, because Herald of Arclight being a floodgate does matter here, but alas, I still think it was probably correct. They're going to go for the Warrior Plasma. We're going to draw a card, and then I drew a card. I didn't search this. I drew into the cookie, which is very funny. And we're also going to play the Acrocade. They're going to go and dump in order to extra normal, and at this point I realize, okay, I should probably book here. I want to keep them off of a rank 4 so that they can't go for Block Dragon. Out comes that the Magnet Bonding. They're going to add the Conduction, but their field is kind of clogged, so I'm not too concerned about that. We do also bring back after their activation. Out comes their 2 monsters. They're going to pop and then bring back. And again, at this point, I realize don't want the 2 level 4s, so out comes Cupsy. And I chain this in a way that may seem strange, but the thing is, again, I am most concerned about keeping them off of level 4. I don't need to search anything here, so I actually chainlink 1, the Acrocade, and chainlink 2, Cupsy Yummy, which does play into the Ash Blossom that they have in hand. But again, I'm not concerned about Ash. I'm more concerned about popping this card, so I make sure that that is the case. At this point, my opponent concedes after going to end phase, realizing that, yeah, they don't really have anything. So yeah, Yummy didn't really change a whole lot. Let me quickly explain why Yummy didn't change all that much. For the most part, you still have access to all of the Yummy names because of Cupsy Yummy Way being generic. You can summon this via any Link 1 and any level 1, meaning that the Sulfur cards in this deck in particular still give you access to the entire Yummy cards without actually having to see a single Yummy. And there's several other cards that also give you the ability to do this. The Snake Eye cards, the what's the other one then? Oh, Tri-Brigade does this. There's a bunch of other decks as well that have the ability to very easily go into the entire Cupsy line, or the entire Yummy line, without actually having to see any of the Yummies. So, for the most part, it didn't feel like much changed. I still made the same end board, because I can still make Herald. I can still search all the same cards. I can still play the same cards. Like, for example, Herald of Orange Light was very consequential, or it mattered a bunch in this deck. So, not much changed. It didn't really feel much different. I guess I, played an extra Lollipo. I could have played 2, but I didn't need to. So, cool. Alright, this was the deck that I was playing previously, prior to the ban list. This was taken from pack in the, not this most recent Duelist Cup, but from the one prior to this, and I didn't really update it too much. This is pretty much the exact same list, but there you go. And this is the updated list, and we just added in the branded cards. The extra deck looks quite substantially different, but for the most part, it is just adding in the branded cards. We added in Branded Fusion, Albaz, and Firazol. I don't know how to say this card's name. The light one. So that we can actually play the branded cards. And for the most part, I didn't notice any changes. Because, as it turns out, Branded Fusion is basically Rahu, Dracotail, and these 2 cards are not great. And sometimes they come up, but they're also just monsters in hand, which is pretty nice. Also, Lucius isn't even the best normal summon, so I didn't really notice it. We still have just as many ways to fusion summon. Again, I didn't notice too much there. Alrighty, and here we are going second, because I misclicked, but you'll see what happens here. So this is just a pretty solid go second hand. My opponent is playing Punk, so we'll see what they can accomplish here. They do get to draw a card. Oops, my bad. They're going to search this. They're going to go for the Wagon. No, not Wagon. What is this one? Rising Star. Out comes the level 8. I actually just Ash Blossom here because that is summon number 5, and I want to keep them off of as many games as possible. So we're going to tribute here, Ash them, and then just pass the turn. If I draw pretty much any Dracotail, we're off to the races here, and I draw probably the best one I could have, so that's pretty good. We're going to go and activate the effect there. In order to fusion summon, we have to fusion into Secretarion, which does trigger their Called By. I'm surprised we didn't Called By the Ash, but I guess it makes sense, right? Or the Veiler. Anyway, doesn't matter. We make Verte, go for it. The Branded Fusion, activate the Branded Fusion in order to go into Albion and trigger the Firazol for the Horn, so that we do not immediately die to the Nib token. That's why we set the Horn there. But yeah, cool. I mean, we're off to the races. We have all of the branded cards here. Let's see what my opponent can do. They're going to start here with Ogre, which is a pretty solid start. Grab the Xiaomin, activate its effect in order to grab up the Rising Scale again. Activate the Rising Scale, banishing, special something, and reborning a guy. That's cool. I'm going to go for my my Albaz here. They elect to book my guy. That's fine. Doesn't matter. We give them the Firazol, and I'm actually just going to fuse off of the Nib token. It's far too large. I can't really deal with it effectively. But we're going to actually go and fuse into Chaos instead of going to like Mirror Jade or something of that nature. I don't really have anything I want to set here, given the fact that we still have access to all of our other cards. We still have Horn, we still have Flame, etc. I just needed to clear the field. Notably, they do get to summon the Jam Dragon Drive, which was, for some reason, put in attack position. I don't know why they did that, but they did. Anyway. Out comes Foxy Tune. They're going to activate its effects to special summon a guy and then just concede, realizing they don't have anything. Cool. I mean, we did draw into Veiler, but cool. Good game, I guess. I'm actually going to show you one more game because I want to showcase what this deck is still capable of doing. As you see, I drew Rahu here. Cool. But guess what? You still have 3 5 mana, so my opponent sets a card. Looks like they bricked. Cool. I get to activate 5 mana. My opponent just concedes there. Yeah, you still have access to 5 mana as a hand trap. That didn't change, so you're still capable of doing that. So I will say that overall, having less access to Rahu does matter. I'm not going to act like it doesn't, but for the most part, it didn't feel like a lot changed, and the deck is still very powerful. I will say, at the very least, it is a bigger change than what happened with Yummy, but I don't think it's going to take it out of meta contention. It's probably like the 3rd best deck instead of the 2nd best deck right now, maybe, with the recent ban list, and it's only going to get better with more of the well, more specifically with Fallen and the Virtuous. As soon as we get Fallen and the Virtuous and the white Albaz, this deck becomes more powerful once again. So all in all, it doesn't really change a whole lot, and isn't really going to change a whole lot for very long. Alright, and this is the man deck list that I was previously playing. To be fair, this isn't technically what most other man players were playing, but it's similar in nature. I'm just playing slightly less solemns because I don't have the UR crafting material for all of the solemns. That was it. And this is what we would be playing after the fact. I just added in Apophis, and we're still playing the one warning. That's it. Let's hop into the replay. Alrighty, and here we are going first, and yeah, it's pretty much the same hand that we've previously seen. My opponent's going to start off here with the Max C. Sure, why not? I'm going to activate Lordly Load, Ash Blossom. Cool. Nothing I can do about that. Though, to be fair, it's not like I would want to do anything. We're just going to set 3 and pass. I mean, I guess I drew the Apophis this time, as opposed to not drawing it, so there's that. Now I have a second one. Cool. They're going to activate Happiness here. I'm going to activate my Apophis. They're going to go for Cookie into Snatchy. They're going to activate the effect of the Snatchy, summoning the Mignon, attempting to special summon it, and I negate, and then they set 2 and pass. Cool, turn 3. Let's see what we can accomplish here. We're going to draw a Drill Beam, which is very funny. But out comes our Apophis. They're going to activate the effect of the Apophis. I drew into the Drill Beam, so kind of sucks for them, but yeah, we get to negate the trap there, and then just pop the Purge. We're going to put back our 2 guys there off of the Apophis, which, to be fair, even if they were to have negated with the Imperm and had that resolved, it still wouldn't have mattered, because we could have just gone Apophis 2, Electric Boogaloo. We could have gone for the Divine Serpent Apophis with the other 2. So, again, it wouldn't have really mattered. Anyway, we're just going to go to combat here. I'm trying to deal as much damage as possible. So, walk into the field, and then we get to make Apophis 2, which also is not a once per turn, so we get to set the other one anyway. We're going to summon a guy and just pass to them. Yeah. We're going to draw a card. It's not going to matter. They're going to scoop it up. Cool. Good game. And with man, yeah, not a lot changed. And I'm not even playing 3 man with the mark. I could, but I didn't feel like I needed to, because while, yeah, Treasures of the King went to 2, it didn't really matter. You still have access to it through Anubis, off of man and stuff of that nature. But instead, I just elected to play another Apophis, because I lost a lot of the negation effects, and I figured it'd be better just to play an additional negation effect. That was it. I don't really think that the limitations to the Solemns were good in general, mostly due to the fact that if they were a problem, why didn't we ban them? And if they weren't a problem, so much so that they're okay to be seen, why did we limit them for hitting this deck? It's not like other decks were playing it. This was like the only one that was playing it, and it was rogue at best. It was like the 9th best deck, 8th best deck or something like that. 8th most represented. It wasn't exactly a common deck within the Duelist Cup, so I don't know why the limitations were relevant for Solemn, or for Man, for that matter, especially in comparison to that of Lunalight, which was more popular, or Gem Knight, which was also significantly more popular. I don't know why we decided to hit this deck of all things. If it was for fun, then yeah, why not ban the cards, right? If these were deemed to be the issue, they should be banned, right? That's the issue with this ban list. Didn't really do anything in that nature. And again, man's still fully playable. Nothing changed. So if this deck in particular was an issue, they didn't do anything to change that. It's pretty much untouched, right? You still get access to all of the Dominus cards, which was one of the things that this deck in particular was capable of doing. You still have access to the Primites, you still have access to Super Polymerization, you still have access to all of the Apophis, you still get man. And a lot of them were playing 2-man, and 3 temples. Well, now they can play 3-man and 2 temples. Whoop-de-doo. So again, yeah, not much changes. I don't know what the purpose of this ban list was. It seems like it's mostly just here to frustrate everyone, but I don't know. Let me know down below if you guys have tested these new ban list changes, if you felt similarly about them, because yeah, for the most part, it's just been the same. Like, not much has changed. I guess Magnet Warriors is here, which is cool, but other than that, not much has changed. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.